Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Code X Podcast, Episode 7. I am your host, Sonny Kruger. On this side to me, as usual, is my co-host, Jamie Wojcik.
How's it going, guys? Nice little intro there, Sonny. I like how you busted out the Hulk for that one.
Yeah,
It's like we're reviewing it today or something.
That's right. I got my Hulk shirt on, my Hulk mug, all that because we are reviewing the Hulk issue number 420, In the Shadow of AIDS, because it is HIV Awareness Month. I thought it'd be a good issue to go over, and we will be reviewing that later on in the episode.
Yes, we will.
So, last week's episode, we reviewed Daredevil Born Again, and Jamie went on about 11-minute spree of just talking about it.
I gotta say that's the first time that you actually gave me a book where I was just like, I'm a fan. I had to talk about it, man.
I'm glad he did, and as you just see right now, how Jamie cut me off. He cut me off many times last week, and he had the microphone just like this, and was waiting every time I spoke to say, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So, this week, I gotta call him out on that.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Does that.
Yeah.
Here we go. But yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll be seeing a lot more of us trash talking each other this Saturday, July 31st, with our special episode of the Code X Podcast in person.
Am I allowed to speak now? Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you will be seeing a lot more of us this weekend, this Saturday. We don't have a specific time yet, but as soon as we do, we will be notifying everybody on all social medias, even text and maybe come to your house and knock on your door and be like, get on. That'd be Sunny, though. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. As Sonny was alluding to last week, it will be uncensored until we get it to YouTube and Spotify. But it's gonna be the first time me and him have been in front of each other in a year and a half, and as we said on the pre-show over at twitch.tv/Codex Podcast, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time since we've been face to face, so that I can embarrass you in front of all of our viewers.
I got nothing. I'm gonna save all of my energy for Saturday just to take you out.
Good, because you're gonna need it this Saturday, July 31st. When me and all my Sonny Maniacs run wild on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a bunch of that. Who knows, maybe there'll be even promos going on as well.
Yep. Maybe some promos being cut as soon as Sonny starts his. It's going to be, yep. Mm-hmm.
As soon as I start talking, yeah. All right. But, so today's episode, like I said, we'll be talking about the Hulk, issue 420. We'll be going over our topic of the week. We'll be going over a new thing, which will be called From the Vault. No mail call this week, so it will be From the Vault, taking out an old comic book that I'd like to share with all of you guys and share with Jamie that I think he's going to be pretty surprised that I actually have in my collection.
Mm-hmm.
And now on to comic book news. So, first comic book news, we mentioned the show, Hawkeye and Ms. Marvel will be coming out on Disney+. And Jamie, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, it was announced that both these shows will be out before the end of this year. I'm excited. I've liked everything that Disney Plus has put out so far, out to this point. If I had to pick between the two, I'm probably more excited for Hawkeye since it's going to be Jeremy Renner's last time, suiting up throughout the whole show. I do believe that it was a good decision through the MCU and Disney to allow him to have a show to carry out so someone else could take his place, unlike, Black Widow had her 2 hours. I think both episodes are slated for an hour and 6 episodes.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, because obviously the other shows have been all half an hour, right?
Other shows have been, they vary. I know after watching Loki, it was 6 episodes. I think, what was it, WandaVision was 9? Somewhere around there.
I can't remember.
And, was it Falcon and Winter Soldier, or Captain America and Winter Soldier, however you want to look at it, was 6 episodes as well. So I'm more excited for that, but I do have love for the Ms. Marvel show only because of the fact that I did play Marvel's Avengers, and in the campaign, you're Miss Marvel from the beginning. So I like the fact that they put that out there and built an audience before releasing the show, even though she is a relatively new character. So
Yeah. Actually, there was a time that Captain Marvel, the Carol Danvers, was considered Miss Marvel, and then obviously became Captain Marvel, and then they said now we have the new Miss Marvel who will have her own show.
yeah,
So
it will be I think they're both going to be good in their own right. I feel like the Miss Marvel show is going to be more catered towards younger viewers, I want to say, but I think both of them are gonna. I'm gonna watch both regardless. So I don't know about you, Sonny.
I'd like to watch both. I do have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, you do.
But yes, I would hope that I can get to both of them. And like I said, I think if I have to choose, like I said, there hasn't been or I haven't seen any trailers out yet. So, but I would say so far I'm more excited for Hawkeye. But we'll see as time goes on and we get more news about it and more trailers are released. And speaking of trailers, you said you did see the ShangChi trailer that was released today.
Yeah. To my surprise, there was another ShangChi trailer out today. It we talked about it in the pre-show a little bit. It did have like a couple of scenes where it was new, but everything kind of felt like it was right after what we saw from the last trailer, so like 10 seconds after. I am excited for it, I want to say, but at the same time, I kind of still am in that realm of I just want to see it before I have an opinion, because usually when I go into movies or shows, I already have an opinion on the character, but not knowing that much about them and not having that history, I kind of want to just sit back and see it for myself and kind of discover the character through the MCU rather than read it this time.
Yeah, I think actually with me, sometimes I think I've been able to enjoy the movies and shows more when I have less knowledge on the character because I think when I've read a lot of issues and stuff, then when I watch it, I'm constantly trying to compare and I'm getting mad when things aren't the same way they were in the comics. So, like I said, I think I may be able to enjoy Shang-Chi even more than some of the other comic book movies that I've watched.
And then you're going to get those people that are going to sit there and you're going to be like, oh, but I love this part. But that what never happened in the comics, Sonny. It never happened. You can't like it because it never happened. And then people are just like, it's a movie. A lot of things happen in those movies in the MCU that never happened in the comics. So,
yeah, I've learned to just deal with it. Like I said, no point to get so upset. It's going to happen. They're going to change things up. So, speaking of movies and things that people will complain about, I'm sure there's going to be some people that will complain about the Black Superman. So, Michael B. Jordan and his team are working up on making a Superman, either a miniseries or a movie. It's not been confirmed yet, but about the Black Superman, who is known as Val-Zod. Now, like I said, over time, Val-Zod has become a lot more popular, and in certain old comic books, the Black Superman is known as, well, Black Superman is an Elseworlds Superman. So we always get, Clark Kent, Kal-El, who's obviously the most known Superman, but there have been comics that have shown other Supermans from other worlds, and we've seen this Val-Zod in older comic books before. So this is not a new character. This is a character who's just become a lot more popular now, and I'm pretty sure when there is a movie or a miniseries with the Val-Zod Black Superman, I think it's going to be very popular. What do you think about it?
yeah, I definitely like the idea of Michael B. Jordan taking it with his team, because from original writing and original production going into that first movie, when they were talking about it originally, they were just trying to erase Ben Kal-El. So it was just making Superman but black, and that's all they were trying to do is just change the color of his skin and be like, here you go. And it didn't work out so well. But from what I've been hearing and reading, it is going to be, I think, a 4-part series. So it's going to be longer than a movie, which is totally okay by me because I'd rather see that. When it comes to Val-Zod, I love Earth 2. I love that whole comic series. It was great from start to finish. I honestly want to get to the part where we just see the whole Earth 2 JSA and, go into that. So, yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think that they made the right decision here, making it their own. I don't think if they would have went with it just being Kal-El, it would have been received well at all, because that's not the character. Like, it just isn't.
Yeah, I agree. And like I say, I do think this is the smart move of going forward with the use of Earth 2 Superman, right? Or the
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's a smart move, and yeah, you know it is going to be popular. And too, like you said, it's an interesting story, and that's the main thing that I like to see is interesting stories. And then one thing I will say is that there's been, like I said, a lot of talk. Like I said, first there was talk of making Kal-El black, and then now they're just going forward with the Val-Zod Superman, where I think a lot of people are forgetting about this great character that I'm a fan of, and his name is Steel. I
Yeah.
think Steel would be really popular if they made not a Shaquille O'Neal Steel movie, but just a legit, awesome movie with the character Steel.
Yeah, I do believe they would make actually a good character out of it now. Wasn't Shaq Steel?
Yeah, that's what I said. No Shaquille O'Neal's
Yeah.
Steel. I have not seen that movie, and I don't care to watch it.
Yeah, you still haven't seen it yet after all this time?
No, I pretty much refuse to see it. I'll stick to the comic books until I see a movie that looks like it's going to amaze me, and hopefully in the future there is a movie about the character Steel.
Yeah, I do think Steel is underrated myself. He doesn't get enough, as we can allude to our topic of the week. He doesn't get enough spotlight. What he does. There's been a few story arcs where he's been used well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's in Superman and Lois right now on the TV show.
Oh, okay.
I think he just popped in there. So I don't know how far that goes. I don't really catch up. After Arrow ended, I just kind of stopped watching the CW shows. Besides, trying to see if I could find a cameo of Sonny's head in Batwoman. So
yeah, season 2, episode 2, minute. I'm not sure.
Minutes in, and I couldn't tell you. Just look for Sonny.
Maybe like this part of the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh well. One of these days, I'll play a big superhero or supervillain, and you won't have to look that hard to find me. One of those things I would like to do. Okay, but now, speaking of characters changing race and everything like that, we move from Superman to Batgirl. Jamie, I'll let you take this one since you found out about it way earlier than I did.
Yeah, actually, that both the Hawkeye and Ms. Marvel and the Batgirl casting dropped like as soon as we were done recording. I think it was last Wednesday. They did cast Leslie Grace as Batgirl, and again, it's kind of like with what they're doing with Catwoman with the new Batman movie, and they're trying to change everything up, kind of, diversify the cast, and it's not just all, as they would call, whitewashing the whole thing. I haven't seen any of her work yet. I know she just came out with, or it did not probably recently. I think it was this year, but I think she was in Into the Heights, I believe it's called, and it's on Netflix. I'm gonna probably try to check out an episode or two just to see how it goes with her in it. But as this character, I think it is part of the HBO Max 10 movie contract. Whether it's a show or a movie, I think it is going to be a movie. I just want to see how it fits in. Like, they obviously with Commissioner Gordon, is it going to be his actual daughter from the Pattinson's Batman movie, and still tie in with that, or is it going to be something more alluding to her own solo thing and we never see her in the movie? Because we have seen at times where even in we never got a Robin in a movie, but we have seen the suits and stuff. From Batfleck. So I would like to see it tie in. I would like to see how it goes, since it's Warner Brothers all the way around. But yeah, I think it's a good casting. I think I hope she's gonna do great. I feel though right now that with everything going on in comic book movies and TV shows, it is getting a little crowded because Titans announced that Barbara Gordon was going to be part of, their show, and it's, you gotta follow every single aspect. So we'll see what happens. I mean, also Titans is kind of like its own thing, so I don't think it fits into any continuity at all, really.
Yeah, like you said, it's a bit crowded. There's a lot to watch. I mean, in a way, it's great that we get to be so spoiled with all these superhero movies and shows and all this stuff. For back in the '90s when we were kids, it was like you get one Batman movie and you better enjoy that Batman movie because there's no other superhero movies for a couple of years.
Right, or you get like the cartoons, like the '90s X-Men or Batman animated series, but they never were like in sync with one another.
Yes, yeah, we got lucky with the cartoons. I still think those are the best cartoons, man. But movie-wise, we didn't have much. Like I said, now we're overloaded with it. But yeah, I wonder how she will do. Like I said, I haven't seen her work to say, oh, she's this great actress, or oh, she's not good enough. I mean, I wouldn't have expected her to be playing Batgirl, but we will see how it goes.
Yes, we will.
But something that I'm not too happy about, and that a lot of people are very angry about, is the Masters of the Universe Revelation series. So, beware spoilers right now if you have not seen the show and you don't want anything to be spoiled. So it has been known that the Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe Revelation series came out on Netflix, and they released the first 5 episodes, and then they were later on released the next 5. And there's a huge thing that has a lot of people angry. And here it is. It appears at the end of episode 1, and it is that He-Man and Skeletor die. Well, they basically, it looks, I just had to watch that part to hear, or just to see it, and it looks like they disappear. So I'm like, okay, I'm sure they'll be back. But I hate spoilers, but I made sure I did read the spoiler. There was an article and it said, beware spoiler. I said, you know what? Fine, I'll read it. And that the rest of the episodes just focus on Tila. And now she's an important character of the show, but people were saying that it was, it was basically false advertising, or a bait and switch. They show He-Man, everyone's expecting we want to see He-Man. And then the whole show focuses on Tila. And people are also saying, too, that, it's more just trying to be PC, whatever, and, she gets a haircut and the side of her head is kind of shaved. I don't know how she was able to get that kind of haircut in those times. I didn't realize they had, clippers in the He-Man world. So, yeah, it really changed up, and I'm glad I did not watch the rest. And a lot of people were also mad because Kevin Smith, who has made some, he's one of the most known comic book fans out there. He's made some good movies, Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and my favorite of his is Chasing Amy, but I think he failed with this one. And also the thing that got a lot of people mad is that he even said he was not a fan of Masters of the Universe when he was a kid. So he wasn't a fan of the show, and then does this and gets rid of He-Man. So you got to watch 4 episodes of Masters of the Universe without the character of He-Man and basically focusing on Tila. Jamie, what do you think about that?
All right, let me drop some news on you now. So I looked into this. I've actually done a lot of research. I have not watched it yet because I am waiting for the other 5 episodes to drop so I can binge watch it all once to have a full opinion on it. As far as I'm concerned with it, I've said this since episode 1. Everyone wants change, but nobody likes change. And that's the problem. Is they gave it, for those who don't know, Kevin Smith is an amazing director, regardless of your thoughts on him. He's done great work. He's put out a lot of movies. He's also a comic book writer. He wrote Daredevil, and he wrote the first 10 parts of Green Arrow Quiver, which were amazing. I didn't get to read Daredevil, but I did read the Green Arrow one, and it made me an Arrow fan. He did come out and say that Mattel did reach out to him about writing the series, and they wanted him to put a spin on the show that no one would see coming. Well, I think everyone didn't see it coming. He did go out and say he wanted to get the show noticed that, and I'm paraphrasing right now because I don't have the information in front of me, it's just from remembering. He didn't want to get the show noticed, but he said he got it noticed in the wrong way and he doesn't understand. He said, I wrote Dogma, and people were like so critical about that movie because it's a religious movie and it went into all that aspect. But as far as this goes, he was even saying that, Mattel reread the script, his comics from the previous series, like Daredevil and Green Arrow, which I have mentioned, and they wanted him to come in and rejuvenate the show. Well, he doesn't understand all the clout towards him right now because there's still 5 more episodes, guys. Just because they weren't in the first 5 doesn't mean that somehow miraculously, because it is the comic book world, it is the cartoon world as well, and animation, that they're not going to pop back up. And right now, everyone is review bombing that movie or that TV series so bad. I think on Rotten Tomato it gave it 93%. Audience views was like at 30 or 27, one of those two. There are times where like I'll agree and say, hey, this I agree. But with Rotten Tomato, I really don't. But with the audience views and how they review it, I usually go with that. In this case, I don't. When I watch it, I'm probably not going to go into it with the same mindset as what those reviews were. This is probably the first time I'm with Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Maybe, like I said, I know he took a chance, and like I said, I'm still a fan of his work. I'm not like, oh, somebody made one mistake, but I think, in my opinion, it is a fail, and like you said, there's still 5 more. My guess is that He-Man will come back, but still, I don't want to watch 4 episodes without He-Man, especially when we're saying there's all these other good shows out there. I think now it's a different time. I think years ago, maybe I would have been like, I'll still just deal with it. But now there's so many great shows out there. There's so many, like we were just saying. There's Loki, there's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We got Hawkeye coming out. We got Miss Marvel coming out. We got Titans. We got so many shows. So if you're going to do something like that and you're going to take He-Man out for multiple episodes, I'm going to pass on it,
Yeah, well, we're going to see on it because, like I said, it could be, and Sonny, as you would know, we both write. We both do things like, in that kind of realm. But it's world building right now, and I think that he's building for, that climax to finally drop and just be like, oh, here they are. Take them. They're yours.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure the scene will probably be really cool when he comes back, and it's, oh my gosh, He-Man's back. But like I said, it's just, like I said, opinions. Like I said, obviously Rotten Tomatoes is a perfect example. Like I said, the critics, they love it, and then a lot of people didn't. And like I said, sometimes I'll look at that, but I'm somebody, I'm making my own opinions on things. There are movies I like that are, that most people will say, oh, that is an awesome movie or show. And then there are certain shows and movies I like and I love. And it's hard to find somebody else who agrees with me. But like I said, it's my opinion. And you say that's your opinion. And, all these people, we have our opinions on things. And that's why we talk about them. And I would say that, like I said, Mattel and all those people up there who just got Kevin Smith to do the episode, they're fine about it because it's getting people to watch, it's getting money, it's getting talked about. But sometimes a lot of those people who are, I like to call them the suits, the people who just deal with the business side of things, they almost don't care about the quality. Like, is this good? They just kind of think, did it make us money? Okay, good. Our job is done. And
no, and I do agree with you with the whole suits thing, and I do, but I just, like I said, I'm gonna have to see it for myself. My opinion may change, and if it does, by the end of the full series, like that first full season, I'll be the first one to tell you were right, Sonny. But at this point, I don't know. I'm gonna wait and see. I'd rather not judge it on 1 to 4 episodes. I'd rather judge it throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's good. And I hope you do enjoy it. And at least, like for you, you kind of know what to expect going in. I think a lot of people, that was a big, surprise, and a surprise that not many people liked, whereas you are going into it, you know what to expect. So you may be able to enjoy it more than most people.
Yeah, I hope so.
We'll see, yeah, because I'm not too sure exactly when they said the other episodes will be released, but I'm pretty sure before the year ends, though.
Yeah, I think that's what they stated, that they broke it up into, like, I think it was a month or 2 span where 5 would drop and then the other 5.
All right, so Yeah, a lot to talk about when it comes to He-Man. I would say He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, but it's not even called that. It is called Masters of the Universe Revelation. But I would more refer to it as Tila and the Masters of the Universe. Okay? Any last minute things to say about that?
I got nothing, buddy.
All right, well, I'm sure we will touch on Tila and the Masters of the Universe again sometime. But now it is time for our first ever From the Vault. So, no mail call this week for me, but I thought, you know what? Every now and then I go to my old comics, and sometimes I'm like, man, I would like to share this or let you know about it, Jamie, or just let anybody know about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'll do a thing called From the Vault, where every now and then we can surprise each other with an old comic book we have. Now, me, this is one of the first comic books I had. I don't remember exactly which is the very first because I was very young. I was like 3 years old getting comic books. But this issue that I found, I was like, oh man, I gotta tell Jamie about this because you're a big Green Lantern fan. So when I looked at my stuff, I was looking at my old comics and I realized that I have issue number 1 of the Green Lantern 1992 series.
Oh yeah, that whole run, that started off the Rainer run. I think it was issue 48.
Yeah.
I do believe. But yeah, no, that was the pinnacle of my childhood. That and Emerald Dawn.
Yeah. Yes, to me, I didn't realize that I had issue number 1. I was like, wow, I had the very first issue.
Yeah, that's a great pick for From the Vault for the first one, Sonny. I mean, have you read it in, recently, or have you gone back and visited it at all?
It's been a long. Like I remember when I first looked at it and found it again. I kind of looked through it fast, but it's been a long time since I read it. Like I said, I was a kid when I had it. It's been a long time. So, like I said, I kept it all these years. Over 25 years later, I still have it, and I plan on keeping it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my From the Vault that I care to share with everybody this week. Jamie, you said you have a From the Vault this week.
I don't have a From the Vault, but what I do have is my pick of the week from last week's polls that I had. It is, and I'm going to go into a tangent about this. So pull it up on the screen so everyone can see the very first issue of the new Moon Knight series. And I am more than excited for this because, I've been a Moon Knight fan for a while now before it was cool and before even the show. Right now, they're doing a big, like everything else in the MCU or anything that goes with Warner Brothers and DC or Disney Plus, they're doing a huge push because I think is it Oscar Isaac? Or do I have it backward? Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Oscar Isaac got the role as Moon Knight. And that should be coming up, I think, beginning of the next year. That should be coming out. So they're doing a big push so people can get some info about him. But some of my, I want to say, favorite runs have come from Moon Knight. I read more DC than Marvel, but when it comes to Marvel, that's my go-to every time a new series comes out. So if you haven't yet, stop at your local comic shop, go grab this issue, go check it out. I promise you, it is worth every penny.
Cool. You know what? Like I said, I did forget if it's Isaac Oscar or Oscar Isaac. Well, one of them. We'll remember in due time.
Yeah, right after the show, it'll hit you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's cool. And I almost forgot that they are making a Moon Knight a movie.
It's gonna be a
series?
It's gonna be a series on Disney Plus, which I don't know how they're gonna do that because with him having split personality disorder and just beating the crap out of people, how far you can actually push that.
Yeah.
But I think they got a good reign on things right now, and I hope nothing but the best because if you screw up Moon Knight for me, I will riot.
Yes, so now you said it on the show, so now you definitely got to do it.
Yeah, and the first place I'm going is this guy, SK, Sonny Kruger's house, and
my house.
And stealing all of his Epic collections.
Well, you know exactly what to go for.
I'm not even screwing with anything else. I can be like, oh, there's $1 million. I want those Epic collections. So yeah.
And I actually have an Epic collection right next to me right now because it deals with what we'll be talking about.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so Moon Knight, they should be cool. But another thing, real quick, how you were saying how it's very violent. I don't know if you know, but The Mask was originally a comic book,
Yeah,
like a really violent comic book. Yeah, it was a really violent one, and then was made into the movie with Jim Carrey and Cameron Diaz,
yeah.
and obviously that was not as violent, anywhere near as violent as the comic book.
No, it wasn't, and people were kind of the people that had that following were upset about it. I mean, this is pre-social media age where you can just say whatever you want and not have a care in the world. Back then, it was you saw it like in the paper and everything. I remember being little and like my parents would say like, "Oh, I got bad reviews from people," and it's like, "Well, why?" And it had nothing to do. There was one scene in that whole movie where it was like real, like I think it was really violent for like when I watched it. It was the auto shop.
Tell me the auto shop scene. It's been a while since I watched it.
It's where he like they have his car and he goes in with the mask and basically like runs like pipes through him.
Okay.
It has been a long time since I've seen it, but that part I do remember. So
Nice. Yeah. And actually, speaking of the mask, Jim Carrey actually has a Coco Bongo in Mexico, and me and my girlfriend Maria actually went to that club. I didn't even realize it was Jim Carrey's Coco Bongo club until like the night before we left. So I had to check that out, and it's a very cool place. So now we've talked about the mask, we've gone over our from the vault, and now we get on to our topic of the week. And our topic of the week is, what character do you believe? Let me grab this. What character do you believe deserves more time in the spotlight and why? And Jamie has our top 3 picks of the week.
yes, I do. And the first one comes from Milton Gray Farmer saying Hawkman, the original archaeologist, Carter Hall Hawkman. He was awesome in the Golden Age. He was awesome post-Crisis as a solo hero and as Justice League's mentor. We have Jackson King, and his pick was Taskmaster. Sure, they're giving him attention now, but he should have always been considered a great threat. If he can learn the way of Iron Fist, it would be game over for a lot of people. It's just that the writers don't know what to do with him. He should be at Deadpool popularity by now. And then our last one is Dan Kelly. He picked Martian Manhunter. He was one of the founding members of the Justice League and is one of the most powerful characters in DC. But usually when he gets his own series, it's just a mini series with bad artists. He's got the powers of Superman and the detective skills as Batman. So, with that being said, Sonny, what are your picks?
Well, yeah. First, those are very good answers, and like I said, I like those. And like I said, Martian Manhunter is one of my favorite members of the Justice League. But so, like I said earlier, we actually happen to be talking about the character Steel. But like I said, hopefully he's starting to get more recognition. But for me, I decided I'll do one for Marvel, I'll do one for DC, and do one for somebody who is not in any of those, who is from an indie publisher. But for Marvel, for me, I pick Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock, I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Infinity Gauntlet, all that stuff, and Adam Warlock's own series, and he was a great, really powerful character. Had a huge part in Infinity Gauntlet, and I had a feeling like he wasn't going to be like in the movie, or wasn't going to at least have that big of a part. And so far, he still hasn't been in any of the Marvel movies. And like there was mention of him. He was mentioned at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But I'm really hoping to see a lot more of Adam Warlock, because I think he's a great character, super powerful character, and he's my pick for Marvel. When it comes to DC, I pick The Question. I would like to see The Question get his own movie or series or something about that. I think he's a really interesting character. Jamie, I'm not sure. Have you seen The Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix?
No, I do scroll by it every time, though, because I am not a horror buff whatsoever. I can't even fall asleep without the lights on after watching one, so.
I had a feeling. Is that why you want to get a Dracula comic?
Yeah, you got me.
All right. Well, if at least it benefits me, though, right? So, but The Question, I wonder if people are going to compare it to that. I don't want to give too much of the show away, but It just has to do with people with no faces. So I wonder if people are going to be a little freaked out by the way the question would look. But I've always found him to be a really interesting character, and I'd like to see him get more of the spotlight. And then for indie characters, like I said, I'm obviously way more familiar with Marvel and DC, but for indie, I would like to see a bit of Savage Dragon. I'm not too familiar with the character. I've heard some things about him. I've looked into some of his comics, what they're about, what some of his story arcs are about. But I'm interested in seeing more of him. I'd like to see more of him. So hopefully he can get some kind of spotlight, something soon that can introduce a lot more people to him. And those are my three picks: my Marvel, my DC, and my indie pick. Now on to you.
Thank you for that. And those are actually three very good picks. I do appreciate those. I'm going to go with indie first, and it's not more of a spotlight. I think it's more of a retelling in the comic world. Even though we got two adaptions of him, one was great, one wasn't so well received, but I want to see Hellboy get pushed a little bit harder. I think he is a great character. I think that they have a good world and basis set up for him. I just don't think that they're going in the right direction as far as promoting and marketing for him. I feel like he needs more spotlight after everything Ron Perlman did for the character. It was amazing. The actor's name escapes my mind right now, but he just played Red Guardian, and he's in Black Widow, and he's also Hopper in Stranger Things. But
Okay, yeah.
he did it, and no one went to see it. And even he said that there was no marketing, there was no coordination in the movie, so that's why it was, received so poorly. As for DC, I do have to agree with one of our picks, Martian Manhunter. Dan Kelly knocked it out of the park on that one. Being a founding member of the Justice League, you should be entitled to your own solo series that's well received. We got a little bit of him in Justice League, but it wasn't up to the standards of what we should have got. Every series that I've read with him, I don't know if the writers know who he is and just go in blindly, or if the artists just don't understand how to capture or convey what they're doing, but he needs that spotlight again. He needs to be brought up. That should be one of the characters, unless he's by fire, or Firestorm. That should be a top tier character, and 100% on that. As for my Marvel pick, now this is where it gets a little tricky for me, Sonny, because my Marvel pick always would have been Moon Knight because of the fact that no one really talked about him. No one ever really cared, except for the hardcore fans. And now that we got it out, I can't wait to see what they do. But I do have one that needs to get pushed a little bit harder, and I would love to see X-23 or Kenny get that push of what she needs. She's done a couple of her solo series. For those who don't know, she's the clone of Wolverine. So kind of like her kid, which somehow always works out with him. But they had some good series with her. But they need to bring her more into the spotlight. They need to get her on something. And I'm not talking about a comic. I'm talking about a TV show. I'm talking about a movie. I'm talking about a cameo, something. Give her the recognition she deserves. She is a bad character. I'm trying not to swear in here. So, yeah, those are my three picks. I really do. There's so many that you could pick from that you could sit there and say, it's against popular opinion. Like, there are characters that I know some people have said, even in our comments, in our chats, that don't have the spotlight, and you sit back and you think, and you're like, what do you mean they don't have the spotlight? And then you realize that they actually kind of are right. So, kudos to everyone who commented this week and went out of their way to give their reasoning. Thank you to our top three again. And Sonny has some great picks, and I think I did too this time.
Yeah,
for a change.
Great picks. Yeah, well, you usually do. I forgot that Hellboy did have another movie. I really forgot that last one you mentioned.
Yeah, it blew my mind too. It was the most probably forgettable movie that ever hit, because I think it was, I'm trying to remember what it was going up against. There was another movie coming out, and it was another superhero movie at that time, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was Far From Home that it was going up against in the box office. I do believe. If I'm wrong, hate me down in the comments or something. But for right now, I believe it was one of the top tier MCU or DC movies that came out around the same time as it did.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. The next, Martian Manhunter. I think everyone's in agreement that he needs way more of the spotlight. Okay. So with that, we get on to our works. And earlier in the pre-show, we mentioned that I have finished posting my story of To Be Alive and Desired on Wattpad. And I do give a warning that it is mature, and all my other books are mature as well. I don't watch my language in my books like I watch my language on the show. So, To Be Alive and Desired, my erotica/romance novel, is out there for the whole world to read. So, there's that. And now, Jamie's big announcement. We got the Codex podcast expanding, and it's getting closer to another show.
Yeah, and just to let you know, we will be posting Sonny's Wattpad under the descriptions down below, so you guys can get access to that and much more of his works. I'd be excited too, Sonny, if I had this outlet. Only 64 views, but it's still more than enough than most of the likes. But we are expanding. We are building a bigger banner and putting more shows under this the Codex podcast umbrella. Decoding Panels is the name of the show, and it will be coming out within hopefully 2 weeks as the first actual episode comes out. For those who don't know and haven't seen the show before, we are doing it is almost as a Comics Explained, but it's based on our reviews and what we've read so far. So that way anyone that hasn't read it and doesn't want to be spoiled during this, they can go back and watch those. Or if they have questions, they can go see that. I'm excited to start it. I did a little bit of testing on it, and Sonny has seen it, and so has our new team member that will not be named because I will be having him on the day it airs. And I think it turned out great for a test. Sonny, what were your thoughts?
I agree. I approved it. I said I approved it. I liked it. I'm looking forward to it, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it. And like I said too, we review our stuff, but if someone wants to hear more about the comics, this is definitely the show to see. The Decoding Panels. It will go over the comics really well. And then, like I said, I liked what we have so far, so I'm looking forward to the full episode. And the first full episode will be Captain America, Who Will Wield the Shield.
Yes, Sonny, thank you for that, because I blinked for a minute. I was like, oh, I'm going to say what it is, and then I just stopped and was like, what do you think?
Well, you can say the next one if you want. The one we haven't even reviewed yet.
No, we're going to say that. We're gonna make people think about what we're going to do. We will give a hint. It is a comic.
Yes.
That we will be reviewing. No, but we're in the works for at least, I think me and Sonny have sat down and actually talked about it, 1 or 2 more shows after this, just to broaden our fan base and bring more people in. Because honestly, guys, we do love when you guys are on talking to us, and we want to give everybody something for them.
Yeah. All right. So there we go. Decoding Panels. The other show of the Codex podcast is coming soon. Hopefully, like I said, in August. No specific date yet, but we will keep you updated. And now we get down to our review of the week. So this week we went over The Incredible Hulk issue number 420 in the Shadow of AIDS. I picked this one out for us to read because July is HIV Awareness Month, and this issue deals with HIV and one of the characters getting it. So the character Jim Wilson, who actually is the nephew of Sam Wilson, the Falcon, Jim Wilson in an earlier issue announced that he has HIV, And in this issue, it really takes the center stage of the Hulk. It goes away from the usual Hulk comics. They're not fighting big supervillains. This is a special issue focusing on the seriousness of HIV and AIDS. And the character, Jim Wilson, he is attacked. He's in the hospital. And that's when they find out that actually his HIV is a lot worse than people thought. It's actually AIDS, and he's not doing well at all. And the Hulk is there, obviously, by his side. And the main thing is that he asks the Hulk if he can do a blood transfusion to get some of the Hulk's blood so they could save him. So now the Hulk is in a tough position. He has to choose, do I just let my friend die, or do I give him some of my blood and risk turning him into this monster like me? And that could hurt himself, that could hurt many others. So the Hulk is in that position. At the same time, Betty Ross, or who was at this time Betty Banner, she is doing a phone hotline for people who are in distress, and a man named Chet calls, and he is telling her that he found out he has HIV, and he's considering committing suicide. So at the same time, we're switching off. Betty is trying to tell Chet not to do it. She's trying to talk with him, and the Hulk is trying to decide if he will give his blood to his friend Jim Wilson or not. And then there's a quick little part that where one of the at this time the Hulk was part of the Pantheon. That was his team, and one of the Pantheon members, Hector, is gay, and one of the other members of the Pantheon, Ulysses, makes a comment, and he's saying, "Oh, if you guys didn't sleep around with each other." And one of my favorite comics is the part is that Hector turns around and nails Ulysses with a big punch and knocks him flat on his butt. So I don't want to give away the end of this comic, but that's pretty much, like I said, I told you what it's about, what the two main storylines are, and to me, I thought this was a really great comic. This one, like I said, went away from the usual storylines. It focused on HIV/AIDS, and especially this was made in the early 90s, so there was a lot of ignorance around HIV and AIDS. A lot of people believed it was a gay virus, and we obviously know now that's not the case. It's due to blood. So, you can transfer blood in many ways. And I thought this brought a lot of awareness. I liked how serious it was. I liked how emotional it was. And I think I've never read another comic like this that has focused so much on something so big, and it is such an important, I've never read a comic that gives such an important message out there. So for me, I think this is a really special comic. I think there's not much like it. I'm a huge fan of the Hulk, a huge fan of Peter David's run of the Hulk, and this issue was a really standout issue to me, and I would recommend it to everyone. Jamie, you know what I'm ready for. You know what I'm going to rate it.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
One of my favorite single issues.
God, Sonny with the 10 out of 10. Was this like the third one?
I think so. I think the third.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more critical when it comes to comics, I guess. You just love it. I dissect everything from them.
Like I say, I love comics. I enjoy them. And if I'm giving 10 out of 10s all the time, then I'm more than fine with that, because that means I'm enjoying them.
Yeah.
All right, so Jamie, now I focus it. I give you the spotlight.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot to what Sonny alluded to. We did get the opening where there was the riot at Theodore Roosevelt School, and we did see Jimmy get beat down, basically. Going into this, I don't have that much Hulk knowledge. I did read a couple minis with him in them. That's why I love when Sonny posts these kinds of things and tells me to read these, because it gives me a new outlook. But yeah, we definitely, with this one, it pulled on the heartstrings a bit. There's a couple points that I wanted to bring up, like when Betty was working for the hotline, as you were saying earlier, she answered the phone as Vicky when she was talking to Chet, which I thought was weird as being a hotline. I mean, they didn't really say till later in the book that they weren't supposed to give away their real names and everything else. I don't know if you can clarify this for me, Sonny, but at this point, I'm pretty sure we have Smart Hulk or Professor Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was just like, what? I'm like, is this Endgame again? So Hulk is talking. Hulk is Professor Hulk in this. My favorite, I don't know why, it made me laugh out of like this emotional roller coaster of a book. But when the cop tried shooting Hulk,
Yeah,
and he
I did
like
like that part. Yeah.
he brushed him off with it like no problem. He's like, "Are you serious? Come on!" And he picks up Jimmy and then like walks away with him to get him out of there. But my other favorite part was the interaction between Jimmy and Bruce, and basically Bruce lies to him and says, "We're gonna do," because Jimmy wants his blood. What's the worst that's gonna happen? Bruce goes basically like She-Hulk. Yes, there's Hulk for anyone that doesn't know. And Bruce lies, and when he starts getting the transfusion, says it's his, and it's not. There's so many ups and downs in this. I have so many questions, so many about this run. For me, I thought it was great. I think it was amazing. I do love the concept. I love that it is through. We did this through the whole HIV awareness month. But overall, I gave this a 7.8 out of 10. Only reasons is because there's not. I didn't really understand much because of the fact that there was so much going on within the characters that it kind of took the story away from me a little bit. Like you could read, like you were alluding to, that you read in the prior issue, this, and this happened. But yeah, I mean, overall, 7.8, solid. I did like it. I did enjoy it. I thought for it being in the 90s, it is a good piece for its time. So
there we have it. Jamie gives the Hulk 420, 7.8. I give it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, like I said, it's interesting because, like I said, I was reading the Hulk, the run, and I was going through a lot, and then got to that issue and continued on. Whereas, like I said, you just straight out, I just give you that issue. Where even yesterday, I made sure to read issue 388 was when the character Jim announces he has HIV, and it dealt with pretty much the same issue, but it was more like there was a party, there was something else where if you felt like revisiting, I would say issue 388 and then even 420, they kind of go together.
Okay.
If you felt like it, yeah. But yeah, I thought like this one, a lot of the stuff didn't really go what was going on before, so that's how I was kind of like, oh, it doesn't really like too much like before. There was a lot of storylines. It was the Hulk Future Imperfect was a little bit before it. Rick Jones's wedding was a little bit before, so they was dealing with a lot, and this kind of, was a little bit of a different. It pulled the story of the Hulk a little bit away from what they were normally doing. Like even the Hulk and the Pantheon, they kind of mentioned like, in 388 they mentioned leaving, but yeah, 420, they kind of like was like I'd say here's all the story, and then they hit issue 420, and then they continue on with another storyline.
Okay.
But that is the Hulk issue 420 in the Shadow of AIDS. Now, have you read any other issues? Because I know you read up with more up-to-date comics than I do. Now, have you read any other issues nowadays that deal with something like AIDS?
I wouldn't say more nowadays. I would say, now that I'm thinking about it, but there is a Green Arrow. I'm not 100% sure. Bear with me 1 minute. Let me double check which one it is, because I want to be right on this. But there is a HIV special that goes along with it. It is part of the Kevin Smith run, I believe. Yep. Green Arrow, issue 44. And it is hard. It kind of has that same pull at the heartstrings issue. We see, depending on how you pronounce it, it's Maya Dearden, and she becomes Red Arrow after, Red Arrow becomes Arsenal. But they have a big breakdown of Roy talking to Oliver about it. And Roy kind of has his revelation there where he's like, she got it for, and I don't want to give it away, she got it for these reasons. He's like, I've been shooting up with needles back when, they started that whole run for him and that character development. And he's like, I could have got it at any time. He's like, why her and me, but not me? So, yeah, it definitely is carried over, like kind of like you were saying with the Hulk, with, what was it, 388 with Jimmy?
Yeah.
For this, it carries over throughout the series. Every time they bring her up, they kind of allude back to it, in a sense. So, I mean, they really take it to a new forefront with it, too, because of the fact that she does become his new Speedy, and what happens if she gets cut during a fight, or someone gets, infected by her blood, or it has a whole telling of it, and, it was a good storyline, so...
Okay, that one I'm interested in. Kevin Smith, I'm interested in reading that one. See, that's something that is different and endearing that grabs my attention.
Yeah, I think that was the first 10 issues. It's called, I think it's called Quiver, is the story arc. So, yeah, definitely check that out. It is part of that run, but I don't think Kevin Smith, I think Winnick was the writer at that time. So, for the issue 44.
Okay. Well, like we said, it is something that is good. I think every now and then comic books, I know we'd like to be taken away from the real world with comics and sometimes go on these, these adventures in our minds to other universes and all this and that. But I think sometimes it's important to sometimes deal with some of the issues going on, that we're all facing in life. Like I said, especially at the time, there was the big AIDS pandemic and there was a lot of ignorance around it. And, now these people know a lot more. So... I think every now and then comic books should do a take on that, on something very, something that's going on around the world. So who knows, maybe there'll be something about the pandemic soon. Have you read anything? Have they mentioned anything in coronavirus in any comics?
I don't really see too much of that. I mean, when there was a lot of ads when the pandemic happened where they had be like staying 6 feet away and it'd be like Green Lantern holding out a construct to measure out how far Wonder Woman is away from him at all times wearing a mask. And yeah, there was so many of them. They had every character in it just to, do the whole prevention of it. But as storylines go, not really. I think the shows more encapsulate that than anything else, so...
Okay, well, yeah, that's interesting. So I definitely was interested to talk about this issue with you because I know it brings up a lot of things. It's definitely very serious topics. And with that, I can honestly say we're done talking about the Hulk 420 for right now. How about you? Any last minute things you'd like to say about it?
No. I'm not going to give away the ending, but I think the ending is what made this one single issue for me.
Okay.
It was the it was the last 2-3 panels, I believe. They just were like, that's when the strings in the heart just kind of pulled a little bit tighter.
Yeah, it was definitely a powerful comic that I recommend. So that was what we did this week, and next week I will have Jamie's comic book finished. Then last week he recommended to me X-Men, worst X-Men ever, and next week I will have it finished and we will review it.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it. I'm reading it, and I said it will be done by next week.
10 out of 10. Let me guess right now. But
we will see.
But yeah, we taking this one on our way home there, Sonny?
I'm ready to take it home. How about you? Any last minute things you'd like to say to everybody? Thank everybody for watching, and don't forget.
Do the normal outro and just thank everyone for watching once again, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social medias if you haven't seen it yet, Sonny's also been plugging ours for a change, other than a thing about a thing. So, guys, thank you again for watching, and I hope you guys are good, and we'll see you Saturday.
Yep, Saturday, July 31st. We're seeing the special episode of the Codex podcast. Jamie Wojcik, I'll see you face to face if you're man enough to face me.
I'm not showing up now. This is over. Good job, Sonny. You just ruined it for everybody.
Okay, well, at least we know we'll be seeing you next week.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye.
All right.